Classifying climate. Traditional climate zones are usually classified based on temperature, precipitation, and vegetation. So here's a map of different world climate zones, and they're looking on exactly these things. They're looking how hot or how cold does it get? How much does it rain? How much does it snow? And what kind of plant life actually grows there? So it's kind of a neat little map. And if you look at the legend, it tells you a little bit about what you see in each one. So this dark green is tropical wet, where light green is tropical dry. So if we go over here to South America, you see a great big part is tropical, but it's dry. And then just north of there, it's tropical wet. We also see arid and semi-arid, so very desert-like. And along the equator, just above the equator, we have a lot of desert. And even Australia, most of Australia is desert. So again, the three basic things that we're basing it on is temperature, precipitation, and vegetation. So there's quite a few things that affect climate. One main one can be just your distance from the equator. So when we look at this map here, we see these arid, dry areas are very, very close to the equator. As we move towards the poles, it gets colder and colder. So the equator is warmer, the poles are colder. Presence of a large body of water. So if you're beside a Great Lake, for instance, what happens is it's warmer in the winter because when the air goes over the lake, it picks up moisture and warmth in wintertime, and it warms the land. However, in the summertime, the lake's a little bit cooler, and it picks up and it brings that cool air and cools down the land around us. Ocean currents. Well, kind of obvious. Cold ocean currents make local climate cooler and drier. Warm and makes it drier because when it's cold, the air can't hold as much moisture. Warm ocean currents make climates warmer and wetter, and it makes it wetter just because of the temperature. The warmer the air, the more water it can actually hold. Air currents. So the presence of air currents and prevailing winds. Air currents that pass over water before reaching land may cause increased precipitation. Cold, dry air currents from poles will make local climate cooler and drier. So what's interesting is just here in Strathroy, it always seems that it snows more here than anywhere else because as it goes over Lake Huron, it picks up moisture and dumps it on top of us. So the same sort of things. When it goes over water, okay, it increases how much precipitation, either rain or snow or sleet, any form of water coming down from the sky. Landforms. So landforms such as mountains can create rain shadows where on one side of the mountain receives most of the precipitation, on the other side very little. So what happens is as the air goes up the mountain, it starts getting cooler, cooler, cooler. It gets so cold it releases all its moisture in form of rain. So on one side we get very, very lush, but that cold air current continues to the other side and has no more moisture for the other side, and we find the other side of the mountain is actually very dry. Another thing that affects it is the height above sea level. Air temperature is cooler at higher altitudes. So the higher you go, the cooler it is. So if you ever climbed a mountain, what you'll find is the temperature starts decreasing as you go up.